Excuse me, I don't have the little case, what is it called, the cell phone card holder. So I have to hold it like this. It's just laying on my lap because I have a fanny pack on. So I'm just laying it on my fanny pack to talk to y'all. Sorry if it looks crazy, but the main purpose of this video is so that you can hear me. So the video is in response to someone who just posted a comment on a video that I just uploaded. And the comment stated that they're battling a situation. On top of that, they feel like they're getting harassed by individuals, and they calling the police, and the police is not intervening. They're not helping them. And I wanted to bring forth to you information about that because I have similar stories in three different occasions, three different locations where I tried to obtain a police report just like this person comment. And when you do, they say there's no police report to be obtained. Okay, so listen to this, you guys. Um, they started targeting me, but because the facility I worked at, it was hard to target me because I would take care of private entities, so it can't just have strangers coming in and out the place, right? So they started harassing my older son. In the process of harassing my older son, um, they would do things and I would have to make a police report. And then when I try to obtain a police report, it say no police report is to be found. So let's start with story number one. My son was in middle school. At this time, I barely knew what targeting was. I knew things was weird happening in my life, but I thought it was me just overthinking things or me just being paranoid. I didn't identify myself as a target at that time. Well, while he was in middle school, there was a situation where it stated that him and a young lady was having inappropriate text messages. Um he okay, the young lady went to his school. This did not happen at school campus. This happened during the weekend. Okay, so I get to my son's school. I was called to say, yeah, your son had inappropriate text messaging. The mom found them and she addressed it, and so we have to confiscate your son's phone. And I said, okay. And when I got there, the police was on the scene. And so I talked to the principal by myself via separate from the police officer. And I said, well, where's the young lady at? Why she's not in the office, and where her mother at? Because I want to talk to her too. Because this girl is older than my son. On top of her being older than my son also has a mental disability. So that means that he's not the aggressor. Someone will have to coach him into doing this. So I need to talk to him to make sure that he is not who texts who first. And my son said she was texting me and he was doing a response. And the principal agreed to that. I said, so where are the text messages? The principal said he deleted them. I said, why would you do that? And I'm an adult. I need to verify what you're saying is true. Now all I have is your word. I have no witness. I have no documentation to prove what you're saying. If this lady tried to accuse my son of doing something, I don't have this information. And where is the parent at? The mother stated she doesn't want to talk to nobody. She just wants me to keep my son away from her. I said, well, she's making these allegations. Why wouldn't she want to talk? And you guys got the police up here. They was trying to put a record against my son. I think so it can go along with whatever they're saying about me, because if they're out there making allegations that you're some type of criminal, but your record clean, your kid's record is clean, what is it going to do? It's not going to match up because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So maybe the parent is very good at not getting caught, but of course if she's doing criminal activity, the kids is going to have some type of criminal background as well. Okay, right? So this is happening. And I was like, well, where's the police officer? Let me talk to him because I need to know what y'all documented. The police officer tells me, nobody told me anything about some inappropriate text. I would just call up here because they said it was an incident between two minors and they needed the police on the scene. And I said, no, they told me that it was misconduct due to the fact that my son was sending inappropriate text messages. You didn't read them? And he said, no, they didn't tell me anything about it. I said, this sound like they're, at this time, y'all, I just thought it was racism. I didn't think that this was something about being targeted. So the police officer I was talking to was an African police officer. And I said, sir, I think this is something that they're trying to be biased towards my son, and they're trying to be racist and pin stuff on my son because I didn't even see the text message. He said, well, they're not allowed to just take stuff without parent consent and delete it. Took my son's phone and just deleted messages. He said they can't do that. They should have let me, the police officer, see it, or they should have let you see the text messages. I said if there was pictures in there, they could have deleted the pictures, but the verbal contact they should have let me see. He said no. I said they didn't let me see nothing. So everything is he say, she say. And then you know what they put on my son's suspension? They try to say a sexual assault. I said he didn't touch her. What are you talking about? And she was the aggressor. You even said that she texted him first. And she said because that she's the girl, they put the boy. I said, you can't. I said, y'all must really think I'm stupid. Are you serious? So you guys, I had to go to the school board and get everything redocumented because they want to put this in his file. And it's a cum form. And what a cum form is a document that follows your kid around from school to school, even all the way up to college. I said, y'all not putting sexual assault because he didn't touch this girl. You guys are going off a text message that took place over the weekend, not even on your campus, not even in presence of you. Okay, so all this is happening, and then this man all in my car. The devil is a lie. These people is weirdos. Look at these people. Look, I wish I had it on video camera, you guys. This man got out, looked in my car, and then had a nervous place to tell the lady next to him to look at my license plate. Here we go. I'm still going to tell my story. I told you, once I start talking, they heavily target me. But back to the story. Who cares what they going to do? They just stare and look at you. Who cares? But listen to me. Okay? On top of that, right? Nothing could be found. So I said, well, I'm going to obtain a police report because I'm going to pursue actions. No police report was made. Then why was the police called? I thought every time a police is called out and you want to make a statement or if anything that took place that they have to document it. They said no because he's a minor that they don't document situations like that. Okay, so I had to get my son's school files cleaned and they made me pay for it. I had to pay to get copies of his records. Then I had to pay to have the school rewrite the documents because I said he didn't assault nobody. When you look up the word assault, what does it mean? You know? Okay, that's case number 1. Case number 2. This happened at an amusement park. This is how we're getting targeted. Remind you, I still did not know that I was being targeted. I just knew strange things was happening in my house. I was trying to seek help through family members, but family members, I couldn't explain to them fully what was going on. So unfortunately, at that time, I did sound like I was crazy, right? So again, they picked on my son again. We're at an amusement park. I allowed him and his friends to go their ways. At this time, he's like 15, 16, and I'll meet them up once they're done with their rides. Okay, so we're in the same park. All of a sudden, my son goes and it's time for us to meet. I'm calling his phone. He's not answering. And then I start walking towards the exit. So maybe just at the exit, he can't hear me because the amusement park is loud. I get to the exit, you guys. My son is standing there, escorted by security and a worker, a staff at the amusement park. He said, "Hey, are you this child's parent?" I said, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh," and the police claimed shortly after that, before I get to that, let me tell you, "Oh, your son just physically assaulted another child, and so the police is on their way." And I said, "What?" I'm getting hysterical because guess what? I don't know I'm a target. So I'm really thinking like, did you do that? What's going on? Da, da, da. I try to trust you and your friends. Where your friends at? Mind you, the so-called friends left before the meetup time. Where's these friends at? The friends left before the meetup time. And I'm like, well, where your friends at? I told all you guys to wait for me. Why they leave you? They should have made sure I was with you before they left you. Well, they had to go home and such and such. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, I still don't know I'm a target. The police arrived to the scene and I said, well, they said my son assaulted somebody. That's why you guys are called. Where is the child out that proclaimed that my son assaulted the child and what happened, what physical touch took place? The police get here and said, and the police goes, yeah, where are the people? Well, and the staff at the amusement park goes, the people, the kid and the kid's parent left because they said they just want to get out of here. They don't want to wait. Somebody physically touched your child inappropriately, you guys. Are you just going to leave and not try to make sure that that child that touched your child inappropriately wasn't handled? Are you just going to stand there and be like, oh, just make sure this kid goes home to his parent? No, I'm going to make sure something take place. I said, well, that don't make sense. They said, yeah, they left. We just offered them a free trip to re-enter the park on another day. I said, okay, but the police is called though. So who called the police then? They should have been the one calling the police and making sure that the police did what they had to do. So I'm talking to the police and I said, does that make sense to you, sir? He said, well, the police got a smart mouth. He said, we're not here to make sense of anything. We were just called and we're doing our job. I said, well, no, I'm asking you from a professional standpoint in the line of field that you are in. When someone is assaulted and they call you guys out, the person doesn't try to wait to make sure that the aggressor is taken care of. He said, no, in a normal situation, yes, but in this situation, they didn't. So you free to leave. I said, it's not that. I said, you guys are out here. It's embarrassment. He said, that's why I'm telling you to leave before everybody exits because it was getting close to the park closing so we don't make a scene. I said, okay. And I said, well, I'll call in touch. And I asked them where you at and who he was. I said, I will call you guys later. He's like, okay, do what you have to do, man, but you're free to go. I'm in the car going off on my son. My son's hollering and crying, Mom, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do it. But me, I didn't know I'm a target. So I'm like, you better not be lying. I'm going off, right? Kind of find out, I go to obtain a police report. I go to talk the next day. No police report was made. I said, well, do you have any document just showing that the police was called out? And the dispatcher said no. So I brought my sister with me. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Even though your family don't believe you, you have to keep someone around in order to be a witness to the stuff that don't make sense. Because they're going to find out it don't make sense. And they're going to they might try to figure out like, okay, if you are targeted, you have to be targeted because this don't make sense. Or they just going to be in denial and just sit there with you and look lost, right? So I brought my sister with me. Me and my sister talking to the manager. The manager up there was like, well, let's try to go run cameras. You right? I said, yeah, because I can't even obtain a police report. We don't even know what's the child name that this supposedly happened to. I don't want nothing being on my son's record because I think my son gave them his name because, you know, the amusement park makes their own physical document. But the manager at that time said, I didn't work last night, but we didn't see nothing that was turned in saying that an incident took place. And he said, as security, you have to log in every incident. They found no logs of this happening. And I was like, but isn't that procedure that any incident happens on your facility, you have to log it in and make a report? He said, yeah, that is our procedures. I said, well as the police department, they have nothing found as well, like this never happened. And the manager said, that's awkward. Well, come with me to my office. This man brought me all the way in his office and everything, right? I remember this man's name to this day. And he was like, we can't even find anything on the footage. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on like that. He's looking concerned because he looked like he was really nice. So everybody's not in on your targeting, right? And he was like, here goes my name. This is my number. Take this down. Or he could have been a good actor to make it seem like he was concerned so you can hurry up and get up out of there. Long story short, I start calling almost for a month straight trying to get some type of documentation. Nothing could be obtained from the police department nor the amusement park. I asked to talk to that manager. That manager no longer works here. Do they really do all this to target somebody? This is sad. That's story number 2. Story number 3. Now, this same son, he's in high school, you guys. He was being bullied constantly. We still don't know we're targeted. I'm slowly finding out that I'm a targeted. I'm starting to find out what the word target is, but not fully have a concept of what the tactics of someone being targeted, right? I start Googling this stuff online because at this time, I start getting the cars driving by honking their horns. I start getting the helicopter flying over my home and following me. I start getting the colored sync cars at this time. So you really think you're going crazy, right? So I start Googling stuff like that. It come up people that hear honking cars or cars following them claim to be targets. That's all I'm on. So my son's at school. And I made a report because my son was getting bullied. I made a report on February 2nd, 2000, and I think this was like 16/17. I can't remember if it's 16 or 17, that I feel like we are being harassed through the school district because there was a lot going on. That's just a little bit. A lot was going on at the school district. They was heavily bullying my son, the staff, including kids, right? And I made a report and said there's a bias intent going. I need your help and this and like that, right? And then on the 2nd, on the 3rd, this is a day after I submitted that claim, the day after I made this report, my son got physically assaulted by another kid. Another kid beat him to the point where his bone structure broke. He had to obtain about 4 surgeries. On top of the 4 surgeries, gushing blood. Let me tell you the scene that took place. So while this happened, my son didn't fight back because I was telling my son, oh, we don't physically fight people. We use our words. We don't have to fight nobody in high school because you don't want to get in trouble. We have documented, and the staff is going to help you. We already told him that you're being bullied by some kids up there, so they're going to look out for you. I was wrong, right? So guess what happened? The boy physically assaulted my son, like I said, to the point where he had to obtain surgery. During the process, I didn't get to my son until almost an hour later after the incident because I was at work and we were not allowed to have our phones on. I get there, my son sitting in the front office, dripping blood. And he's like, oh my God, I can barely see. I said, oh my God, you must have a concussion. Where's the ambulance at? And I said, don't get up. And I ran back outside to call the ambulance. I said, hey, I'm at this such and such high school and there's a minor up here. He's bleeding. And he said he can barely see. So I think he have a concussion. Okay. I'm on the phone talking to the ambulance, and the principal of this school, you guys, runs out and says, excuse me, Miss so-and-so, before you need to get off the phone because I need to tell you that your son is suspended. I said, my son is the victim. I said, did you hear that? I said, my son is gushing blood. No one is here. He's by himself. He could have passed out in an office. They don't even have a nurse with him or anything. It's after school hours. The people clocked out and left him. Okay, nobody was in the office, right? I said, not even another student, because sometimes they have student workers. Nobody was here. You have students walking in and out past him, but nobody was there to aid to him. No adults, no office workers or nothing. And you hear how he told me that my son suspended. He was waiting for me. The dispatcher for the ambulance service could not believe what was going on. She said, this is crazy. I never witnessed anything like this before, right? Okay. On top of that, the police came. He said, well, you want us to send the police out there to find this boy? I said, yeah, because at this time, I didn't know what was going on. The police comes out, makes a report. I call my sister again so I can have a witness. I said, you need to get up here. It's more serious than I thought. And my sister lived around the corner, and I called a whole bunch of other people, my brothers and everything. You know what time it was, right? And so everybody's on their way. My sister made it first while the police officer was there. We're making a police report to the police, telling him what happened and everything. Okay, so time goes by. My son had his surgery, whatever. I call to get the police report. There's no police report to be found. This incident, so-called, never happened, you guys. On top of that, I did sue them. I did win, but guess how long it took? 5.5 years when the evidence was there. The police officer that was a part of the school was very good to me. He showed me video footage of the incident happened, which clearly shows my son kept telling the boy to get away from me. You a punk. I'm not going to fight you. You just stupid. This and this and this. Then it shows, it don't show like the whole fight, but it shows the verbal footage and it shows the boy getting in his face first, and then for some reason it cuts off, right? And so the police officer agreed, said, yeah, that little kid was aggressor. And he said, on top of that, ma'am, they did witness statements. Here, come read the witness statements. This police officer let me read the witness statements and everything. And the boy said he did it on purpose. He wanted to do it because he felt like doing it, and he would do it again. So not only did the boy agree to doing it, admit to doing it, and say he don't have no remorse for doing it, right? This story gets good, you guys. And so on top of that, none of that information when I needed to obtain copies was available to me. All of a sudden, they don't know what happened to it. And guess what? The officer that worked at this school disappeared. He got transferred to another school. So y'all really think that they not playing with you? They can do what they want to do, right? So we did take it to court. Long story short, but guess what? Where's the witnesses at? All of a sudden, the girls that witnessed the fight that took place, that was my son's friend, got into a fight at this same school and was expelled. How did both of them get in a fight? And was expelled. And when they became expelled, all of a sudden, we couldn't have no contact. My son, the phone numbers they had didn't work. I get on there and inbox them on Facebook. They would never respond back to me. I said, please let me talk to your parents. This is serious. I need you as witness because the school handled the situation wrong. And I'm trying to pull a neglect case out, a civil suit. I need the witnesses. Nothing happened, you guys. I had to fight all this by myself, by my word of mouth. Okay? So, moral of the story is record, obtain your own information. Don't think that, oh yeah, the police came, I'm safe, because that's not accurate information. Because I tried to obtain even a police report in this case. My sister was with me, and the police officer said there was no police report to be made because they're minors. I said, that don't make sense. And now on top of that, you want to know what happened to the boy that assaulted my son? We supposed to have a court. When this happens, they automatically assign you a court date to say if you want to push charges or not. It's like a mini trial to see what happened, and this boy has to pay restitution for causing harm. They never gave me a court date. I kept calling. They kept saying it's being processed. Why? I called one day and they said, oh, you missed your court date. I said, I was never given a court date. And the lady on the phone said, what you mean? And you wasn't assigned, they say an advocate I'm talking fast because my phone about to die. They said, usually when something like this happened, they assign you what's called a child advocate, which helps in the jurisdiction to help people like this because it's a minor a minor was injured. I said, no. I said, they never gave me an advocate. They never gave me a court date. They never gave me a copy of the police report. She said, let me try to get that for you. And she started looking at the system. She said, they always go, that's weird. This never happened before. I can't find anything about it. And she said, but it says here that the boy that you are speaking about, that the charge is supposed to be pressed against, they said they released everything and you dropped the case. I said, I didn't drop the case because the case was never implemented for me to be dropped because they said I was waiting for it to be processed. And she said, yeah, and it said that the boy wrote your apology note and that you would accept the apology note and you let it go. I said, the boy never contacted me or my son because my son has been hospitalized and he's been at home. We have not had no contact with the school. They didn't even call and check on us or nothing. But one teacher did send my son a card and she kept calling and checking on me, and she kept asking me if I need anything to for her to write any letter of characteristics about my son and how good of a student he was. Let me know. And I was like, oh my God. I said no. And the clerk was like, oh, this never happened before. I don't know. That's odd, but I don't know what we can do. But yeah, the case is closed now. And then this lady even gave me different numbers to call. She really seemed puzzled, right? So I'm going to end it at that. I'm just trying to let you guys know the only thing that you can do is live for yourself. The only thing you can do is record, document for yourself. Trying to obtain police reports or thinking that somebody's on your side is the last thing to do. The only time that I learned to call the police if it's something physical is going to happen in order to protect myself. Because something happened, when something get physical, you guys, they're going to say, well, why didn't you call the police? Because it's going to look like you're trying to hide or run. Okay. And then on top of that, and you're probably wondering, like, why would I hang with people or bring family members around that don't believe me? All this weird stuff is happening, and I keep telling my family we're being set up. I don't know who it is. We're being targeted. Nobody believes me, or nobody wants to admit that they believe that everything that's happening. Nobody calls and check on me. Nobody calls to say, like, oh, that's crazy. What can we do to help, or what can we do to support you, or nothing like that. But I still keep them in my circle because it's the game of chess. You're going to need these people to be witness to the situation that's happened. So if you you're still having the same relationship with these people, and they go to you like my sister did to obtain this police report, right? And they say they saw the police with their own eyes, right? Then they go around and then you go and tell your family, like, there's no police report. They said nothing happened. You have that witness that's a part of your so-called circle to say, I was there with her. She made a police report. So you can be like, didn't we make a police report? So she's like, yeah, we did. Yeah, we saw the footage. So I don't know what they're talking about. This did happen. This didn't happen. I brought my sister to 2 situations because I needed somebody to witness. And every time I try to go somewhere, I try to bring somebody with me. Come on, so-and-so, I need you to go with me because you're supposed to love me. Because if they're playing a role of being I'm part of your family and I still love you, then they still got to play the role for real, right? So if you're supposed to be part of my family and I need you, come up here and witness or talk to these people, you're going to do it. If not, then you're going to exit, so then they can't be a part of your circle anymore, right? So That's what I'm trying to say. I know you like, no, you rather be by yourself, but that's the game. They want you to isolate yourself because it's easier to set somebody up when they don't have a circle. It's easier to target someone when they're isolated because they don't have a support group. So I had a lot of people that was supporting me, and I bet you the people was so mad, like, what the hell, what's going on, right? Because she's supposed to be by herself already. She's already in the targeting stage where people supposed to think she cuckoo. Yeah, they can think I'm cuckoo all I want, and I start going around telling people I was crazy just because. If you know how you got to take lemons when they throw it at you and make lemonade. So, like, I would tell mama, yeah, I'm crazy. I would tell the staff at his school, I am crazy. I'll be like, I tell my kids, if they mess with you, tell them your mama crazy. Just so it can fit the narrative. Who cares? Who cares what people think about you? If they start saying, oh, yep, that's me. That's me, yep. You right. Right. So I'm going to end it with that. The moral of the story is, I know it's a long thing, but I had a lot happen to me, you guys. And that's why I'm trying to use my situation to help the person that's going through it. The person that wrote and said they're trying to obtain a police report. Good luck with that. The main thing that you can obtain is obtaining your own documentation, and always back that up with something else, because like I said, one time I don't know if I told you this story, but I had a lot of information on my phone in regarding to this case that took 5 years to process, and they tried to take that evidence as well, because I had recorded the principal talking to me belligerent and calling the ambulance and admitting to not taking care of my son, that he said, oh yeah, I seen him bleeding, but I didn't think it was that serious, and I had that on tape. So for some reason I was at Subway and I got into a physical altercation. They use these physical altercations. That's why you gotta be smart. I learned that the hard way. So they can set you up and do things to you. While I'm having this physical altercation, I set my phone on the bench. The bench is probably like 4 or 5 inches from the ground. I turn around. Someone done took the phone off the bench and laid it on the floor, and it looked like they stumped it out. Because if the phone fell off the bench, you guys, it wouldn't have cracked like that, because I had one of those cases that looked like a wallet. So you will have to like throw the phone, roll it over with a car for it to crack, right? I picked up my phone. My phone was so shattered, you guys. It was like in tiny, tiny pieces, right? And so I had to hurry up and get my phone home. And I plugged my phone into my computer to download the documents. And luckily it downloaded. But the phone was so damaged, the phone started getting really hot as I was trying to download my phone information. The phone blew up. We had hardwood floor. The floor caught on fire. It was just a crazy day. I was out of breath because I physically had to fight for my life. That's another story. I'll tell you about that situation. I did before on here. Y'all have to go back. This is before my time of knowing like that when they come for you, you ignore them. Don't get to the 10. I got to 10, y'all, and they got physical and they set me up and got me. But but I didn't lose the fight. I'm just playing. I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm going to get off here because my phone about to die. I just wanted to answer that person question, but it was so long that I couldn't type it, and I wanted to show y'all proof that these things be happening, that you're not crazy, because I know you're probably getting depressed thinking like, why is this against me? Why me? No, it ain't just you. I went through the same thing you guys did as well. Bye.